So hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about like how I switched Claude Code to GLM 5.2. This is the open source model shocked me. So the open source uh, like how it is like powerful like Claude Code with GLM 5.2. So today that we are going to reveal like we are going to talking about like something that honestly surprised me, and I switched Cloud Code over to GLM 5.2, and it has changed how I think about using AI coding agents, because normally when we use Cloud Code we think about the Cloud models behind it like Sonnet, Opus, and usual Anthropic setup. But what if Cloud Code is not the model? What if the Cloud Code is the harness? And what if we can swap the engine behind that harness? So, this is exactly what this setup does. We are moving from model loyalty to model routing instead of asking like what AI model is the best. So we started asking like which model should I use for this task, and GLM 5.2 becomes a very interesting because it gives you a cheaper open model option for daily agentic workflows. So like same steering wheel, different engine, and the easiest way you can understand this with a car example. So Cloud Code is the steering wheel, the dashboard, and the driving experience, but the model is the engine. Usually, Cloud Code runs through Anthropic's default model, but with this setup, we reroute the backend through Z.ai and use GLM 5.2 as the model engine. So from the user side, the experience still feels like Claude Code. You are still in the terminal, you are still working inside projects, you still get the agent workflows, but the reasoning is now like being handled by the GLM 5.2. So this is the whole magic here. Same steering wheel, different engine, and the once you are understand that, you stop treating AI tools like fixed product and start treating like a flexible system. So let's talk about the agentic cost multiplier. Now here is why this matter. Like when you use an AI coding agent, you are not just sending one simple prompt. This agent read files, it inspect folders, it reason like through the task, it generate patches, it checks the output. Sometimes it retire, sometimes it loops multiple times, so one prompt can become many background operations. This may cost like uh, this means like the cost can grow fast, and this is what I can the agentic cost multiplier. With normal chat, one message is one message, and but with the coding agents one task can become dozen of hidden steps. So if you want to run agents every day, the base compute layer has to become cheaper. This is where GLM 5.2 becomes useful, because if it can handle like daily tasks at a lower cost, we can reserve expensive models for only the moment that truly need them. So let's talk about the will I use this tomorrow as a benchmark. Like lot of people judge models only a leaderboard. So and yes, the benchmark are useful, but the benchmarks are not your workflow. A model can look amazing on a leaderboard and still feel like painful inside a real project. So my personal benchmark is simple. Will I use this tomorrow? Did I understand the task? And did it follow the instructions without babysitting? Did it keep moving? Or because if the answer is yes, then the model is useful. It does not need to be perfect. It needs to be practical. And there is where like the GLM 5.2 surprised me. It was not perfect in every situation, but like for many daily tasks it was good enough that actually wanted to keep using. This is the real benchmark, not hype, not a leaderboard screenshot, actually usability. So the daily workhorse for me, so GLM 5.2 feels like a daily workhorse. It is a strong for repo explanation. It can navigate a GitHub project, summarize files, and explain like what the code is doing. It is useful for script planning. It can turn a topic into structured section, video point, and step-by-step talking notes. It helps with code understanding if a file feels confusing, and it can be like break down the logic, a simple language, and it is also useful for documentation. And it can improve like readme files, create project notes, and organize technical explanation. The key point is this, like it stay organized, it follows structure, and the most importantly it keeps you moving. This is what you need from a daily AI model. Not always the smartest model on earth. Sometimes you need the model that can do 80% of your daily work without draining your budget. So, let's talk about the mental rent of the blank screen. Okay, so this is the like one of the biggest problem like for the creators and the builders in the blank screen. Like you open a file and you have the idea, but nothing is moving. The blank screen start charging mental rent. Like GLM 5.2 is useful because it lower the cost of getting started. You can ask it to build a landing page skeleton, create a HTML layout, generate a content structure, draft a project plan, or create the first version of your workflow. And no, the first output will not always be the perfect, but it gives you like momentum for creators, students, and developers. And indie builders, that matters a lot, because you don't not always need to final like the version immediately. You need the first solid skeleton. Like once of the first version exists, you can edit, improve, and upgrade it. This is where the cheaper open model become powerful. They may experimentation like less expensive, and when the experimentation becomes cheaper, output goes up. So the brain drain, like beyond the traditional coding, this is the part like I really like. The Claude Code is not only useful for coding, it can be become a project brain. For example, you have seen on the YouTube, like the people are creating based on the sorry, based on the uh, they are creating the second brain using Claude. And if I am a creator like a YouTube video, I can keep like everything in one folder: research note, tool comparison, teleprompter script, like side outline, description, and hashtag thumbnail ideas. Everything lives in a same project. Now when GLM 5.2 is connected to Claude, then it can help me organize the workflow at a lower cost. It can summarize research, create outlines, and compare tools, like generate drafts and keep the content pipeline moving smoothly. So this is a bigger than coding. AI coding agents are becoming work agents that they can help with technical learning, documentation, content creation, research planning, project and execution. This is why this setup is exciting, because Cloud Code gives you the workspace and the GLM 5.2 gives a cheaper engine to keep that workspace running. So let's talk about the routing metrics, like volume versus judgment. So this is the most important mental model in the entire video. Like the GLM 5.2 is the daily workhorse, that Opus is the senior architect and use the GLM 5.2 like for the high volume task and like the repo explanation. So the faster draft generation, daily component writing, content organizing, and documentation, research structuring. Use Opus for the high judgment task. Complex architecture decision, painful debugging like security logic, authentication, infrastructure, production, and the level changes. The real skill is not blindly choosing one model. The real skill is routing the task, which task needs speed, which task need cost efficiently, which task needs deep reasoning, where we have to like need the careful judgment. Once you start thinking like that, your AI workflow becomes much smarter. Then you can call it a senior architect. So like there are like moments when I would not use like GLM 5.2 at my first choice. If I am like dealing with the complex infrastructure where one wrong assumption can create serious problems, I want Opus. If I am reviewing like authentication, logic, permission, security controls, and production infrastructure, I want Opus. If I'm like making high consequences production level changes, then I want Opus. And this is where the senior architect model matters, because some tasks are not about generating more output, they are about judgment. They are about like avoiding mistake and like reasoning through task. And this is the very premium model still have a place. So the message is not like GLM replace Opus. The message is, do not use Opus for everything, use GLM for volume, and use Opus when judgment actually matters. This is how you get both speed and safety. So let's talk about the renting access versus building leverage. So now let's zoom out, and when you use a closed model like you are renting access, this is not bad. Renting gives you like convenience. You can have the great performance, update, hosted infrastructure, and easy access. But renting also means like dependence, like the pricing can change, limit can change, models can change, and like features can disappear. And if you like whole work depend on like one provider, you can expose like open weight models, create options. You can like route between models, and you can use hosted APIs. You can run smaller models locally, and you can like build workflows that are not logged into one provider. And forever in AI options are leverage. If one model becomes too expensive, you can route around it. And if one model has limit, you switch. If one model is better for the specific task, you can use the model only for that task. And that is the future, not model loyalty, model routing. So the new AI stack. Let's about the new AI stack, which is like flexible model infrastructure. This is how like I think the new AI stack will work. At the top, you have the routing layer. In this case, like the Claude Code acts like a harness. So that is what I said you in the starting of the video. Like then underneath that, you can choose the right model based on the task. And like the GLM 5.2 for like the fast draft and volume research, Opus for deep reasoning and security, local open weight like models for privacy, and other open models for cheaper experimentation. So the future is not like one AI provider. The future is flexible model infrastructure. The best builders will not be loyal to one model, and they will know like how to route work across different models. This is a huge skill, because once you understand routing, you can optimize for like cost, quality, price, speed, and reasoning power. This is where AI workflows are going. And let's get practical. And this is the engine like swap inside the Claude Code, and you can configure environment variable like in your local setting file, and the file is uh, Claude like slash setting dot local dot JSON. And this is so this is like lets you like override the default API endpoint. So instead of sending requests to the default Anthropic endpoint, we point Claude Code towards the Z.ai Anthropic compatible endpoint, and then we will provide the Z.ai API key. So we map the default Claude model names to GLM 5.2. So when Claude Code thinks it calling Opus, Sonnet, or Haiku, then we can route those requests through GLM 5.2 instead. The key idea is simple. The Claude Code remains the harness, and GLM 5.2 become the engine. So this is the whole setup, just to make sure that you never commit your API key to GitHub. Use local setting, keep your key private, and do not accidentally donate free compute to the entire internet. So let's talk about the bypass the default endpoints, and this is the slide shows that like what is happen behind the scenes. Normally, like the Claude Code talks to Anthropic servers, and um, but with this like setup, we reroute the request, and Claude Code send the request to the custom base URL. That request goes to Z.ai's and Z.ai servers, and Z.ai like the GLM 5.2 open weight model. So you are not replacing Claude Code, you are redirecting Claude Code to API request and to the Anthropic compatible endpoint. This is important difference. This is not a new coding app. This is not a separate interface, and this is the same Claude Code workflow with a different model backend. So that's make it powerful, because you can keep the workflow you already like but change the economic behind it. Same harness and different compute layer. So like with the best practices, um like my recommendation is to use the project by project routing, and do not globally force every task to use the same model. Create one folder for GLM testing, create another folder for your normal Opus workflow. For example, in your GLM testing folder, you can keep the file, and you can keep the file that I have already mentioned over here, which is this one, and everything to the GLM 5.2, that the folder is good for the low cost and experimentation, content draft, and repo summaries, high volume work. In your production folder, you keep your standard Claude setup. That folder is like better for the architecture, debugging, security, and serious production tasks. Now you can run tasks side by side. Same prompt, different model, different folder, compare the result, and this is better than arguing online about which model is best. Test it like your own workflow. This is where the truth shows up, and like the future belongs to the routers. So here is the final message, that like the model routing is greater than model loyalty. Stop asking which chatbot is best, start asking which engine fits this risk. And this is the shift. The model layer is becoming flexible utility, and some models will be better for cost, some will be better for reasoning, and some will be better for privacy. Some will be better for creative draft, some will be better for coding, and the winner is not the person who worship one model. The winner is the builder who knows how to route the right to the right model. This is why GLM 5.2 inside like Claude Code matters, and it shows a future where we are not logged into one model, one provider, one price point, and we can build smarter workflows, and we can save cost, and we can experiment faster. We can reserve premium reasoning only for those moments that truly requires it. So my final take is simple. 5 point like GLM 5.2 is not replacing Opus for everything, but it absolutely belonging in the workflow. Use the GLM for the volume, use the Opus for judgment, use Claude Code as the harness, and start thinking like a router, not a loyalist. This was Curio Mike Show. If you want more videos where I test AI tools, coding, agents, open source models, and GitHub projects in a simple language, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for today's video. Thank you.
This is Abhishek Yadav signing off from Curio Mike Show. Stay curious. Until next time, keep observing, keep interacting, and keep discovering. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching.